Hello, everyone. Again, to another episode. Today with remarking guest, Bobby Boermans. Bobby, how are you today?
I'm good. It's Amsterdam. It's freezing cold.
Thank you so much for joining us today. For the ones who don't know Bobby, he's been a remarkable producer in person. I truly admire him. He made wonderful movies and series that actually right now you can watch it on Netflix. And for the ones who don't know you, Bobby, how you characterize yourself, to people that probably don't haven't seen you or don't know you so well?
I'm a director producer. I mostly the last couple of years have been working in the crime genre. I did Dutch crime TV series. I did Dutch crime movies. I did a movie called for Netflix called iHostage, which did pretty well
Yeah,
about the hostage situation in the Apple Store in Amsterdam.
yeah,
I studied editing at the Dutch Film Academy.
sure.
Then I went to LA and studied at the American Film Institute. I did the directing fellowship over there.
Yeah,
And then after that, I started working as a director, first as an editor, then as an assistant director,
right.
and then finally as a director, directing TV shows, mostly drama series and movies. And the last couple of years, it's been mostly in the more action, crime, thriller
Yeah,
genre
yeah, yeah.
corner.
It's
So
it's
that's
truly amazing. I actually recommend everyone to watch High Hostage and The Golden Hour. Definitely. I couldn't remark Invasion because I'm from Europe. It's very hard
yeah,
to know how to watch it. But
yeah.
I saw the trailer. It's actually a very good remark movie. Also, tell us a bit about that. How was this filming of the Invasion? Was it filmed in US or Europe?
No, the it was filmed in the Caribbean
Okay,
because not a lot of people know this, but the Netherlands is a kingdom, and the kingdom of the Netherlands consists of four separate countries. For instance, Curacao, Aruba, Saint Martin, and the Netherlands itself, and they're four separate countries. And basically, what the movie Invasion is about it was inspired on an incident that occurred in 2014, I believe, where there was a Venezuelan diplomat that was arrested at the Aruban border by the Aruban Border Patrol.
okay.
And it was a diplomat who was
Diplomatic
transporting,
situation. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, diplomatic situation where this person was smuggling drugs, and he was on the FBI most wanted list.
amazing.
And we, as the Kingdom of the Netherlands, sort of came in this political crossfire where we suddenly had one of the most wanted persons in our possession, and we came
Right,
into this diplomatic situation, and it sparked this international conflict where suddenly Venezuela said, "Hey, we want this guy back," and the Americans said, "Hey, we want this guy because he's on the FBI most wanted list." And then we, as a country, we had to figure out
very
what we're going to
confusing.
do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what we're going to do with this guy. And 4 days later, the warships of Venezuela were appearing next to the island of Aruba. And the Netherlands, as a country, has the obligation to protect Aruba and to protect Curacao
Right.
with our military if things go wrong. So we sort of, with the film, we sort of took that historical issue or historical situation as the inspiration for the movie. And then we sort of thought during the writing of the movie, we thought, okay, what if this conflict actually blew up? And what if there was an actual invasion of the Caribbean islands? And
Right.
what if we then were put into a situation where we suddenly had to protect these islands, and what would
Amazing.
happen then? And the story then focuses on three young military, up and coming military personnel.
Right.
So it's basically a coming of age story inside an international political conflict. And we shot it in Aruba, we shot it in Curacao, we shot it in a very tiny island called Seba.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't know that one. I've been in Curacao and I've been in the other one, but the Save I didn't knew.
Yeah, you have a couple of islands very close to Venezuela, and you have a couple of islands a little bit more higher up there. And we have a military presence there, or the
Yeah.
Netherlands has a military presence there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we have an obligation to protect those islands.
Sure.
So we work together with the Dutch Ministry of Defense and with the Dutch Royal Navy. So we were able to get a warship. We were able to get a submarine. We were able to get a helicopter to create the production value. And we had a lot of military personnel also acting in the movie.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
truly amazing for people who don't really know what is the background of all this. I mean, moving government personnel and moving all these vehicles and boats, it requires a lot of
yeah,
strength and power and effort, and
and a lot of diplomatic
of
discussions,
course,
and
of course,
every military base that you come to, you have to talk to different people. You have different commanders. You have different
yeah. Different ranks,
majors.
different ranks,
Yeah,
yeah,
different rank, and it takes time to gain their trust and to make these people believe you and that you have good intentions with
yeah,
the
yeah,
movie, and
yeah,
that you don't on purpose put them in a bad daylight.
yeah,
But at the same time, they understand that telling a good story and getting people involved into a story also helps with their exposure.
you
The same
actually made
as
them
Top Gun.
kind of prediction. What if really happens? In
Yeah,
this case, you will know
yeah,
more or less how to handle it. In the end, was kind of a solution story for future. If ever happened, right?
yeah. And I mean, it's the same as Top Gun. It in
Yeah,
that sense that
yeah,
I think there. I always say I'm not pro war, but I'm pro defense.
yeah,
And there's a lot of people that protect us, and the same that's in the U.S., but the same thing goes in the Netherlands, and and I think there's not a shame in that. I don't think it's this movie also ended up having some submissions for the Dutch Navy. So we made it in collaboration with them. The only thing is they weren't allowed to put in actual financial money into the movie,
sure,
but they were allowed to put in what we call assets.
yeah, yeah.
Military airplanes or and
Military,
on yeah, and during the shooting days, we would travel with the film crew. We would travel together with them. They would have their exercise in on open seas. They would do their exercise on the Navy ship, and on another part of the deck, we would shoot then our scenes with the actors, and we sort of gradually intertwined in their organization. And the funny thing is, that if you look at a film crew, it's a very logistical operation. You have a lot
of
of
course.
crew members, you have a lot of actors, you have sometimes hundreds of people that you have to put into hotels or
And the
into
diet
beds.
and the resting
Yeah,
and the
and
timing, you have to
the
make
food
road
and the
trips.
and the
It's,
yeah, and the transportation. But the funny thing is that actually the military works exactly the same. They have also a lot of people, they have a lot of infrastructure, they have a lot of logistics that they need to deal with. So the funny thing was that throughout prepping the movie, these two worlds sort of gradually intertwined and connected with each other because we could understand each other's language.
yeah,
They are dealing with big organizations. They have to prep everything. They have to know exactly the time when they need certain people or
Basically, you
certain
kind of
assets to do that.
done a change of roster, well, one to the other. For
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
everything else was the same. So yeah, it was good. It was
And
good.
they were learning from us, and we were learning from them. And then you sort of, after a couple of months, you learn to speak each other's language a little bit more, and then you get technicians, and you get experienced military personnel to help you with the scenes, and how do you hold a gun, and how do you go from one position to another position in a military tactical way. So
Right. Right.
so we really made the movie Invasion together with them. And funny enough, now with all the tension in Venezuela,
Yeah.
the movie becomes more urgent than ever, and um, it sort of sparks the whole debate
Yeah.
again
Yeah.
of the movie, because now this
Can it happen for real now? There's this kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
situation. Yeah.
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 So
It's
that's sort of that
amazing.
movie.
Amazing. Amazing. It's truly amazing. So yeah, unfortunately, like I said, from Europe, I couldn't have handled it to watch it. But I mean, I saw the trailer. It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
And I mean, the makeup and everything else. I mean, it was really amazing movie to actually watch. In this kind of debate, I mean, you talked about you defend that. I defend that too. I mean, I don't agree with violence, but I don't agree with someone beating the other either. So in the end, I
no,
think there has to be dialogue and has to
yeah,
be diplomacy, and people. It's unfortunate because right now you see the situation in the whole world, and there's kind of like life conflicts right now happening. And my question always ends is, why it happened? Why it happened? Because people are unable to sit on a table and have a proper conversation. Why you have
yeah,
to handle violence
yeah,
to show that you are stronger instead of putting in words?
yeah.
What
No,
is also
I totally agree. I think you always have to try and solve the issues with words,
yeah,
and you can have disagreements, but I can't understand why people go to war and kill each other and
no, me
do
neither.
the most
Yeah,
horrific stuff to each other.
yeah,
Um, at the same time, you see that in different parts of the world, people choose to do that,
yeah.
and you have to defend that, and you have to defend your morals and your backbone
It's
and your
unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
yeah, and your values. And I
Yeah,
think there's a lot of people that decide. I think it's more common in the US. In the US, every family has a member of the family that sort of is in the military. And
yeah.
in the Netherlands, we don't really have that, because uh,
Have
we used to
dialogue.
yeah, but we also used to depend on the NATO,
Yeah,
that the US would always serve their function as NATO. And now, of course, you see that's not the case, and we have to do it ourselves. So
yeah,
now this discussion in Europe about, okay, how much do we spend on defense, and how much do we spend on our freedom and our liberties and our morals and our way of living and our is it a given, or is it something that we really need to think about? And so especially the last couple of years, there's a lot more money in Europe also going towards defense.
yeah,
And I think there's people in life that make the decision to go inside the military and fight for something that's bigger than themselves. And I
yeah,
find that always very fascinating as a topic, and very fascinating as a human. I
yeah.
find it fascinating that you are willing to sacrifice yourself for the greater good. And I think that's very inspirational, and I think that's very. I can only have the biggest respect for that.
Me too. I admire people who are willing to help always other people. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter how you help. It can be like yourself, you inspiring people doing movies. Other people can be done another different thing. It doesn't really matter in
yeah,
the end. It's the root, the cause root. It's helping other people. What I regret is seeing that a lot of people in power are unable to get a proper dialogue, to avoid conflicts or to avoid to go in violence, to avoid. I mean, it's easy as that. People say, "Oh, sometimes it has to happen." No, I mean, why? Why should happen? It happens unless you don't know how to talk. In the end, we always going to have difference of opinion. The point is
Yeah,
to get to in the middle point and said, "This is the middle point." So you want this like that cannot be, but it can be like this, And in the end, there's always methods. The problem is that one pushes, and this is what I see from facts from the conflicts that I've been, watching on media and the current conflicts going on. It's one pushes, goes over to the limit, and the other one goes ahead and does the same and continues instead of
yeah,
let's just do the fence, stop and start talking.
yeah,
I mean, people are dying, and in
yeah,
the end, the ones that died, they cannot do anything because they have no power. They cannot do dialogues. They're not doing anything. So I think there's always a point of thinking you are in power over the people. You should think that you have to safeguard them, not hurt them. And
yeah. Most of the time, it's a bunch of angry old men with
ego,
very big egos.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
who can't look past their ego and can't position their ego or brush their ego off and put it aside.
Yeah. I had this conversation a while ago, and people ask me, "What do I think?" I think that I mean, the majority of people in power that actually proving themselves are acting like child.
Yeah,
Because when you are a kid with 7, 8 year old, even from 10, I would think that your mindset is already changing. But let's say between 5 to 7, I said, "No, I'm stronger. I'm stronger than you." And this is what it feels like. But in even more dangerous situation, because
yeah,
you are in charge of billions of warsman power and military and warheads, and we're talking about even nuclear warheads. So when you come to that, you cannot have this mindset. You,
no,
you have to be
I
a
completely agree.
100% diplomatic person, and this is not happening. Yeah, and I think people, especially, it doesn't matter if democratic or not. I think democracy should happen in all the countries in the world. Unfortunately, it's not like that, but it should. And people should really know what they're doing when they're voting, because
Yeah,
when you see a character, what happened in us, what happened in us is something that I predicted already 3 years ago, and I told many people, and people told me, "You crazy." I said, "Yeah, I'm crazy." Okay. So today I said, "So who's crazy now?" Right.
yeah,
Why it happened? It happened because people should indeed more and get deepen more into a person. When you gain trust to a person, you start to knowing the person, know what he is, what is his mindset, what he's going to do. You already have the reverse of the last time that he was in. So you already know
yeah.
his mind.
Well, I think with this administration, I think also a lot of people that voted for him maybe were like they thought like, well, we're gonna vote for the most stupidest guy ever and see where the country ends up and see how we can wreck the whole country and terminate our and slide through our international connections and everything that we'll build. We're gonna bring it down to the ground and see what happens with the United States.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
and I think the last couple of months you've seen what it did to the United States, and I think it's
It's dramatic. It's dramatic
yeah, and
for
The
companies
U.S. is
and
also isolating itself,
yeah,
and it shows that you can't trust the administration anymore.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's horrible. It's horrible to see.
We've been seeing a lot of stuff. I also do podcasts in Spanish, and I do a lot of programs in Spanish too for another corporation, which is Hispanic Public Media. They are from Chicago, and I do a lot of Hispanic programs to them to empower them, and because they really need it. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with migration. There's a lot of things going on with companies. Companies right now have to impulse how they're going to do the strategy because of the 40 or 50% tariffs that they have extra in the products that they didn't have. So, how are you going to sustain yourself? People don't think saying this is not happening from now. I mean, we're talking about a relation that we already had for over 40 or 50 years, that companies in US have branches in
Yeah,
Europe, vice versa.
yeah,
We talk
yeah.
about thousands of people employing, because it's not just one company; it's hundreds of thousands of companies. So,
No, and what people mostly forget is the ramifications that this has
ah,
and the long-term effects and everything that's getting destroyed, and that this is going to take years to rebuild again. All these connections, all these international diplomatic alliances that you have, the trust that the United States has to rebuild again, the all the departments of, I don't know, all the ministries and departments that get shut down, the people that
yeah,
are going to be let go.
yeah,
It's going to have, and besides that, it's also the behavior
yeah.
um, of the president that's sort of is getting normalized around
It
the world, and people's, there's this harsh rhetoric now,
yeah.
which sort of it has a ripple effect through the rest of the world, to the rest of the political leaders, to the rest of all the societies, of at least the Western societies.
Yeah.
It has a huge, enormous ramifications and ripple effect that will continue for the coming years through Europe and the rest of the world.
Absolutely, and the impact that had in millions of people. I mean, just the
Yeah,
tariff itself impacted, according to statistics I have, almost 4 million people already unemployed. We have
yeah,
to account that, which was already recorded some while ago. I did it in Spanish. That we already had around the world over 450 million people unemployed and 128 million people displaced because of conflict. And with
yeah,
this, of course, we add the Ukraine situation, that they have already around Europe over 20 million people displaced, split it in all the countries in Europe. So, where my question to everyone in charge is, where you want to take us? What is the goal, and what direction are we going to? You know,
the
um,
problem is that there is no goal, and it changes by century and it changes by decade, and it's all about power, and it's all about international, the big international powers, so China, Russia, the United States, Europe, trying to figure out their geopolitical place in the world, and combined with wealth and influence around the world.
in the end, my main thought, before we finish this subject, it's, the people are never taken care of.
No,
Uh,
it's
we've been
always the
dozens
it's
of years.
always a small individual that pays the price.
Yeah, yeah, and it hasn't been changing. So when people say, "Why you do what you do? Why I'm doing what I'm doing?" Do you see anyone in charge in governments or companies or wherever that are actually worried about people? Do you actually know how many people around the world are actually living on the streets, or how many
Yeah,
people in the world are totally unemployment without a situation of going because of the amount of millions of people displaced, and there is no jobs for everyone right now? And you asking me why I'm doing this? Of course, people need at least mental health, and that empowerment to move on, because it's not easy. And the situation for some people, I'll say millions of people, are not easy at all at this point. Um, and
no,
and,
I
and
totally agree.
I blame this, for all, people in charge in government. They
Yeah,
created this situation, because this situation didn't create by itself. They created it. So, I
yeah,
mean, they need to solve it, because This has no light. There's no light in the end of the tunnel. We have a tunnel, but there's no light the way we are going, because this will end up in no solution at all. And this will rise unemployment, will rise deficit in the countries, will rise financial depression, and around that, all the other counter impacts that goes with it. That's
Yeah.
always say to everyone, you know.
No, and it's always the innocent,
Yeah,
most vulnerable people that become the victim
I
of it.
pay for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So moving on, let's talk about
So
now.
this is political.
Yeah, we went in very deep. I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it because it's something that really, I always empowered to talk about, and people are just afraid. And I really enjoyed this moments of conversation, because I mean it's really sharing, and this is the actual truth and facts. I mean, people
Yeah.
cannot hide it, and I'm not afraid of talking, and no one will stop me from talking. I mean, there's freedom of speech, and people can say
Yeah.
whatever they want.
I
Yes.
mean, as long as there's freedom of speech. Yeah.
But, I mean, for me, there'll always be freedom of speech. It doesn't matter if when
Yeah.
people say there isn't. For me, there'll always be. You know, so
Yeah, no, but of course in other countries that's not the case.
yeah,
So
yeah, of course, of course. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. So, Bobby, let's talk about now the golden hour. I actually really, really enjoyed, and I really recommend everyone to watch it. It's
it's on
really,
Netflix.
it's on Netflix, absolutely. And, for me, as I mean, I'm not really an expert of movie, but I mean, as a viewer, I really enjoy. It. It looks like very realistic, very good script. The scenes are really amazing, and the story itself, it's really, really well fitted. And of course, again, I thought that you moved a lot of parts. There's police officers involved, military. Kind of there was like SWAT, special police.
Yeah.
So in the end, you had kind of same work as you did in Aruba with the previous one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we it's a series called The Golden Hour. It's on Netflix. It's a series about terrorism. And it's a series that takes place in Amsterdam, and it tells the story about a detective and from Afghan descent, but he's an Amsterdam detective, and suddenly he gets involved, or there's this terrorist attack in Amsterdam, and then suddenly he is the one that's he becomes a suspect of the terrorist attack,
Yeah,
and he has to figure out, in a sort of Jason Bourne type of way, he has to figure out who's the real perpetrator and who's the who are the people who've done this. Um, so it's a series about terrorism. We just released season 2 in the Netherlands, which is going to be probably on Netflix worldwide again. I think after the summer, 2026. And of course, the violence continues and the terrorist attacks continue. But yeah, it's a series that's sort of inspired about a lot of prejudgments that people
yeah,
have
yeah,
on other people.
yeah,
But it's also sort of rooted in the underbelly feeling that we have, that terrorism can come from anywhere,
yeah.
and sometimes, and a lot of most of the times, you don't know where it comes from. um, and and especially in Europe, we had a lot of terrorist attacks
Yeah.
in Madrid, in London, in Belgium. We had a lot of sort of lone wolves, and sometimes organized, of course, in Paris with the Bataclan
Yeah,
and the Charlie Hebdo.
yeah.
And we sort of wanted to make a series that felt
I
gritty and
actually lived
realism.
one in Madrid in 2004. I
Oh
lived
yeah,
that. I was
yeah,
in the train.
yeah. And we wanted to make a combination of a series that sort of really touched on that subject, but did it in a realistic, emotional way, and that you
Yeah,
also get an insight into the people and the characters that are experiencing this, and and you sort of get these mini portraits into the people's lives that experience the terrorist attack.
Yeah.
So it really zooms in. We have a big terrorist attack on a market, which was inspired about it on a terrorist attack that took place in Germany. We have there's one big set piece that takes
There was a
place in a shopping
similar one
mall.
in the south of France. It was very similar,
Yeah,
also with truck.
yeah,
Yeah.
with the truck. Yeah, yeah. And so we wanted with the series, we sort of wanted to touch on the underbelly of that feeling, and how would you uh, function yourself,
Yeah.
and the prejudgments that people have about other people. In
Yeah.
this case, our lead character Mardik,
Yeah.
who becomes a suspect himself.
Yeah.
um, and
Very well
and
characterized, by the way. Very. He was
thank you
very
very
good.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the end, it also shows the resilience of people that have to function under high pressure, and it's sort of a mosaic story where we zoom in
Yeah.
into the police side of things, we zoom into the terrorist side of things, we zoom into the regular normal people who experience a terrorist attack, and it's called the golden hour because after the first hour after a terrorist attack, you have most of the time there's 1 hour that there's either going to be a second attack,
Yeah.
or there's the option of still finding the terrorists,
Yeah.
because most of the time they're still close by in that hour. So after a terrorist attack occurs and happens, that's when they sort of start the golden hour in police terms,
Yeah.
and there's still the opportunity to catch the bad guys.
I think for me, the most amazing part was that the realistic part, what is happening. And then you see those zoom ins in the police part, and they're trying to figure out what's happening and the time of reaction,
Yeah,
until they actually send teams to inspect the place and do it. I saw all that very realistic. I really enjoyed it. I mean, that specific part. That there's a lot of other parts, of course, but that was very realistic. I mean, was really,
yeah,
really.
no, and that also has to do, a lot of the kudos also go to the screenwriter Simon, who is an actual detective at the Amsterdam police.
Yeah.
And he was the screenwriter of the series, and he was also the screenwriter of iHostage. And he has a lot of, because he works at the Amsterdam police, he
Right.
has a lot of insight of how do these detectives
Yeah.
work, how do these processes work, what are the different departments that get involved in a terrorist attack, who skills up to a different level, who contacts who. So he was able to really write that down. He did a lot of research regarding that, and he was able to create a world where, of course, it's fiction, and of course, it's made up, and it's heightened, but still, it has a lot of elements of realism into it, and that's also what I wanted with the
Yeah.
series, is sort of have a
I
combination.
I can tell you from viewer point of view, I thought that very realistic. The 3 points I got in was that mindset, how easily people change their mind about the reaction of other people, and
Yeah,
how they just, today is one thing and tomorrow can be, oh, no, no, no. This is what I say
yeah,
about people. No, when you are with a person, doesn't matter. No, it's go to the end. I mean, it's either a friend or not a friend, but you cannot be in between. That's not realistic. So I really enjoyed that term, because that's truly
yeah,
reality,
and
unfortunately, in society, how people just swap by their mindset.
yeah, I
And
mean, your neighbor can suddenly be, it can be your best friend, but because he's from a different culture, or he's a different heritage, or he's a different type of skin, suddenly he can become a terrorist, or
yeah,
that's how people can look at it.
yeah.
So, and that's sort of the theme and the tone
And
that
the
we were
realism
trying
of
to capture.
society in these days. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I,
yeah,
I think I think most people don't realize that in every country you're always going to find bad people, but you cannot point the finger to everyone. Not everyone is bad. I mean,
No,
and
and the hardest thing with terrorism, of course, is especially with lone wolves, is that you can't stop everything. It's just impossible.
yeah,
And the unfortunate thing in life is that there's bad people in the world that are trying to create havoc and chaos in the world with terrorist attacks, because that's the only thing you want to do with a terrorist attack, is that you're trying to create chaos and that you try to destabilize a society or a culture or an environment or a political create political unrest.
yeah,
um, and But I think the hardest thing is that all these intelligence agencies, police, detectives, even the military, the, uh, in the shadows, they stop a lot of terrorist attacks, but it's impossible to stop them all. And
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
and and I think that's sort
I
of what
think
the
in
series
some
shows.
I think in some points or some situations, I think they have no manpower to view all, and they just go for the most critical. And of course, some small ones can happen or whatever. Because I mean, stopping all, like you said, it's impossible. I mean, you cannot predict everything, and it's
No,
we are 8 billion people in the whole planet, so it's impossible to have so many people controlled and so many people that just be on watch. So I
but
guess
luckily, a lot of the intelligence agencies and people that work in the shadows, they sacrifice their day-to-day lives to keep us safe. And I think that's also something what interests
yeah,
me. That's something that fascinates me.
yeah.
The same goes for the military, but
Yeah.
it also goes for the intelligence agencies
We just got a temario for your one of your possible movies. Do a spy movie, kind
yeah,
of,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, that probably will happen someday.
So I think it will be. I mean, I think it will be very good. I mean, the way you directed all these series and movies. If you make this spy movie happen, I'm pretty sure it will be really, you know, awarded movie for sure.
I I hope so, man. I would love to do a good
Yeah,
story like that. That's
yeah,
but it's always trying to figure out the way in, and I I like it when a story has certain elements
yeah,
of realism in there.
yeah,
For instance, films like movies like Sicario or Zero Dark 30, where it shows sort of the process of, okay, how are we going to capture bin Laden, and that there's this intel
yeah.
officer that sacrifices her
Zero Dark
life
30
every
was
day.
really realistic. I mean, that movie
Yeah,
was
yeah,
very, very, very realistic. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, I love those type of movies. And now, of course, you have House of Dynamite about a threat of a nuclear war
yeah,
erupting, which that's sort of the tone that are of type of movies that I really love.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, then after this, you actually based iHostage, which also on
Yeah,
Netflix. I actually saw it also, and I really enjoyed it because, again, it's about a person that was misjudged and there's a misconcept, and he just went to his
to the
high
Apple Store.
level of patience, yeah, and done such a thing. I mean, it actually happened. Is it true? I mean, I wasn't in Holland when it happened, but I know it was true. I mean, I
Yeah,
saw it on media,
it's based on
and
a real story. Yeah.
yeah, and it's really amazing the way it was documented in the movie. I mean, it was very real. So, what was your experience? Setting up all this.
Well, it was after the golden hour that the screenwriter and I thought, okay, what's next? And it happens to be that I live very close by the Amsterdam Apple Store. I live around the corner,
Okay.
so I passed that store every day, and I was shooting the golden hour during this when this happened, when this hostage situation happened. and well, it's a little bit of spoiler, but they terminated the hostage taker in a very peculiar way, in a very how do you say it? In a very original way.
Unorthodox. Let's just say
Yeah,
unorthodox way that
unorthodox.
people would
Yeah,
not expect.
that's
Something like that.
exactly the word.
Yeah.
And that always fascinated me. And we don't have that many hostage situations in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And every time I would get groceries, I would walk by the Apple store in Amsterdam, and I always wondered myself, okay, how must have these, because there were also four people hidden inside a closet
Right.
during the standoff situation. And the standoff situation where this guy walked in with a bomb strapped to his chest and demanding 250 million in crypto, and but he managed only to take one Bulgarian guy as a hostage. But at the same time, there were still four people hiding inside
Closet.
a storage closet, unbeknownst to the hostage taker. And this actually happened in real life, and it became this 5-6 hour standoff. And I always wondered when I would pass by the stores, like, okay, what have these people, what must have, how must have these people experienced those 5-6 hours? What would have they gone through? How must they have felt, and how do you survive, and how do you cope, and how do you keep your composure, and do you feel the strength to survive and to make it out of there alive? And that's a subject that always fascinated me. And then I started researching more of that because it took place in real life. So there were a lot of open source news articles, videos on YouTube. There were even interviews with people of the police. And then I talked with my screenwriter, and we said, hey, maybe this is our next movie that we need to do. And then we started developing the script, and we worked together with the Amsterdam police, and we got in touch with the actual negotiators of the who did the actual negotiations
Yeah.
with the hostage taker. And we, of course, you can't copy the real conversations one on one, but we were able, because at the same time they were also making a documentary, so we were able to get some of the real footage and listen to the negotiations, how these negotiations unfolded.
Yeah.
And then we decided, and we sort of could set a timeline of, okay, this is what happened in these 6 hours. And we
Yeah.
started to develop a script, and then we decided, okay, it's everybody experienced this night in their own different way. Some people thought that the SWAT guy who acted was a hero. Some people thought he was not a hero. Some people who had their own opinions about the Apple Store
I mean,
employee.
in the end, they're always going to be diverse opinion, but the bottom line is, he saved lives, and in the end, that's what it is. Because
Exactly, and
in the end,
it's
if
the
this
same
guy
time.
actually blew himself up, how many people got injured or probably died? You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah. And at the same time, I hope the movie also shows that the hostage taker was just a disturbed guy who
yeah,
needed some help. And we have a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
strange, disturbed people on the streets because they become homeless or they don't have the right caretaking of the municipality or the government. So a lot of people end up on streets and they become addicted to drugs, or they get their wiring in their head doesn't go the
yeah,
right way. And I think that, and I hope sort of the movie also shows a little bit that if there was good government, what we call mental health
yeah,
support,
yeah,
probably this wouldn't have happened.
yeah.
And I,
Absolutely,
and so
absolutely.
we
I mean,
tried to build a mosaic
from
story around it.
from my point of view, viewer, I really saw that. I saw that this actually happened because this person had no care, and he went
Yeah,
really to the edge of wiring to that limit. And there was a similar story with the Bulgarian, right? I mean, the Bulgarian had kind of similar story too. So it's kind of one with the other. The only
yeah,
thing is that
yeah,
one was, the actual person in control, let's just say, and the other one was the
yeah,
hostage. I
yeah,
think that part, it really got into me because I really got into the movie, which I actually saw the kind of like the realistic part of the situation because I knew that actually happened, and knowing more in detail, I actually felt it. So I mean,
yeah.
I really recommend people to watch it. Really,
Well, and it's not your typical American hostage movie. I think
exactly.
it's a little bit more layered, and it's a little bit
Yeah.
more with drama and emotion, I hope.
Not just that kind of fantasy, that
No.
similar thing that we usually see. It's realistic. I really enjoyed this because I mean, all the series and movies that the ones I saw from you, they are really realistic. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
there's no Avengers coming in to save the day.
exactly. So, I mean, from my point, I think that's what gets into the movie because it makes it interesting because it's
Yeah,
realistic. You kind of feel that it can happen, or when
yeah,
in this case that actually happened, and you saw more detail why it happened. It happened because this guy went wire because he didn't. He felt like aparted from society. He had no help from anyone, and he
yeah,
went wire because he had no place to go or nothing to do. So
yeah. No
I think
support
that,
system, no family,
yeah,
which was also based on real life.
exactly, and that is a remark also for governments. Whoever watched it, they said
Yeah,
this happened because you guys don't have a department or properly support for this type of people. So,
yeah.
and this is what actually happened. So I really saw that. I saw that it was very realistic, and the idea is there for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you, and I hope that's sort of the message that and besides that, it also needs to be a good movie, which is
yeah,
hopefully some sort of entertaining, maybe, or a
yeah,
part of it is maybe entertaining, but it also pulls you in dramatically and emotionally and makes you feel something.
exactly. The actors also I can tell. I mean, there was good, very good acting. I mean,
Well, thank you,
not only by
thank
the
you.
script, but I mean, they really did realistic scripting acting. I mean, accordingly, it was. I mean, I got into this. It's not very easy for me to get into a movie, but I really got into this, and I can tell in public that I actually saw the Golden Hour twice. So so
That's good. That's good to hear.
it's for sure, for sure. No, it's really good. It's really good. My honest opinion, it's what it is. I really truly recommend. So, Bobby, and apart from all this, you already told that it's going to be season two for the Golden Hour at some point in
Yeah,
20.
we already shot it. It already aired in the Netherlands,
Okay.
but as these things go, distributors and networks and public broadcasters, they have a license where they can broadcast the series for a certain amount of a period of time,
Okay.
and after that period is over, it goes
To other countries. Yeah.
yeah, to other countries. So first it's only being broadcasted in the Netherlands, and then after that it's going to be worldwide. I can't give you an exact date
Sure.
because I don't know, but we already shot it, we already finished it. It's already being broadcasted now in the Netherlands, so I hope
Amazing.
the rest of the world can experience it
Congratulations.
hopefully in a half year or so. And it's
Congratulations for that.
again about terrorism, but in a different way.
Sure. Let's leave the mystery there for people going watch it themselves. So, any
Perfect.
other projects that you have in mind for 2026? I know something.
Yeah, but as these things go, and I always find it very stupid to say, but I can't talk about it. But there's a lot of projects on my plate, and especially
Okay.
after after the reach that iHostage had in the world. There's a lot of doors opening as well. There's a lot of projects, but unfortunately, I can't spoil them and I can't
I
talk
know it's
about it
fine. It's fine. I understand.
contractually.
But for people
But
to know that there's
there's
a
going to
lot more
be
coming.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
wonderful, wonderful. So, Bobby, so from all this amazing journey that you did, and the way you step like stepstones coming up, um, how do you saw yourself, from where you start until being, the producer you are today? What kind of advice would you give to other people trying to get into the same area or trying to do, the same kind of job, let's just say, as you're doing? What would you main advices to anyone that would be listening to this?
Well, I think there's actually two things. It's never give up because
Yeah,
everybody's going to have tremendous setbacks in their life. You're going to get punched down. You're going to get
yeah,
punched in the face. You're going to get knocked down. But you always have to try and get back up. And don't take these things personally, especially in the film and the movie industry. It's most of the time it's also a business. So a lot of the decisions are sometimes out of your control, or their financial decisions, or their scheduling decisions, or sometimes these decisions are out of your controllability and out of your reach. So you should never take that personally, but at the same time, you should never give up. So always try to take the next step. And I think the other thing is that you should never become a dick or become an asshole,
yeah.
because every you work with everybody has their own talents, everybody has their own
Skill.
function
Yeah,
and own skill, and especially in the film industry, it's such a creative collaborative art. So you do it together.
yeah,
And I think the other thing is that, um, as the Americans say it always, you're looking for a career, you're not looking for a hit.
yeah,
What I've learned throughout my sort of career, which comes with ups and downs and successes or no successes. I mean, you do a movie and you think it's going to be a huge success, and it isn't. And then you do another movie and it suddenly becomes a huge success that you didn't expect. So it's like fast fashion. It comes in waves.
yeah,
And it's very seasonal, sort of. So every season there's somebody new that's hip and happening, or the it guy, or the it director, or the it producer. So it comes and goes, and you should be a little bit hesitant of believing in your own success. Of course, you can enjoy your success, and you can have when people applaud you, you should take it in.
yeah,
But after 2 weeks, the success is over, and you have to start working on your next project. So I think focusing on the long term, and focusing on a career instead of 1 year or two
yeah.
years, or did you think, or taking a shortcut for the money, or taking a shortcut for the
There's no
success. I think
shortcut.
no,
People don't realize that there isn't any shortcuts. It's only hard
no,
work.
it always comes with experience.
Yeah, yeah,
And based on that experience, you start to build and you start to grow. And I think, don't be tempted into taking the shortcut. I think that's and sometimes that takes longer, and it brings a lot of frustration, and it brings, and you think, why am I not the one being picked to do this main part, or this big film, or whatever? But I think in the end, experience is the thing.
yeah,
And if you just do the hard work, people will notice, and you do it step by step, and people will see you, and people start to trust you, and people want to work with you
yeah,
if you just get the stuff done.
yeah. There's three focus that I actually enjoy about what you said, which is I totally agree with humility.
Yeah,
Having done the hard work all the time, knowing how to handle multicultural people, because I mean They can be from anywhere. In the end, that's a
Yeah,
skill too. And the other part is the perseverance. Nothing
yeah,
is easy in this world. You need to work for it.
yeah.
You're not going to be sitting on a chair and waiting that the opportunity will arrive to you. No, you need to go and get it. And this is what
No,
people.
you need to grind. You need to do the hard work.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're gonna learn, and that's the only way you're gonna make mistakes. And
Yeah.
the only way you learn is from your mistakes, not from
Ab-
your successes.
Absolutely. I always say that it's extra experience. People say,
Yeah,
"Have you had a lot of failures?" I said, "Yeah, thousands of failures." Wow, so many. I said, "Of course." Where do you think you get experience from? So
yeah,
in the end, it's like, but how do you see that? Well, it's for me, it's very simple. I take it as extra experience because I know the steps I've done. It didn't get me where I wanted to go, so I had to take different directions until I found the correct direction and to know what I accomplished and what I wanted to do.
and
Yeah,
there's no shame in taking a wrong direction or failing
no,
or things didn't work out the way you wanted to. That there's no shame in that. It's That's the way we grow as
yeah.
human beings.
Absolutely. I mean, no one is perfect. You're not going to predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after, but I take it in common sense. I have a
Yeah,
router, I have a routine, I have a route. Or of course, sometimes you need to deviate because there's things that happen that you didn't predict that's going to happen, and it's normal things, and this is normal life. People think, no, the Tamari is this is the route. Yeah, right. You can make a route for 20 years. I can tell you that it's going to change at least
yeah,
every time, every month. They say,
yeah,
why? Because you don't predict what's going to happen. You
yeah,
know? So I mean, and this is the true reality of having a really encouraging conversation. I mean, we are telling people really the reality as life has. There's no secrets. There's no magic wand. This is the reality. Everything can be done. Nothing is impossible, but there has to be perseverance, common sense, and line of work. And you
yeah,
just to take it as it comes. For
yeah,
example, you are shooting a movie. Maybe an actor had an accident, so you need to replace while you are in action. So you do a lot of sorting parts. You move. Maybe you start filming other section of the movie in the future, and you
yeah,
film this one just after, and then you combine it and put it before. So this is the type of things that really makes a character the person as it is,
yeah,
improvising, and
yeah.
we only
No,
get
exactly.
when you have the experience of these things happen. You don't know what to do exactly if it hasn't happened to you already, and
No,
this is what
no,
people like,
exactly.
so yeah.
I completely agree.
Wonderful, wonderful. So amazing. We've been exactly 1 hour talking, Bobby. I really enjoyed this amazing conversation. um,
Thank you.
for real, I'm being 100%. I really enjoyed your mindset. I enjoyed your perseverance. The way of looking at things, the way you encourage people, and I admire you and all your team. So
Well, far too kind. Thank you
it,
very much.
it's reality. It's reality because I'm starting to know you already. Who is Bobby, right? And I saw your movies, so this is a fact. I'm telling as a fact of what I saw and where you are. So
Well,
I,
thank you. Stop it. Stop it. It makes me nervous. It makes me.
okay, okay. So no, for real, for real. And I hope that soon we can see each other in person in Holland or in some shooting in some point for
For
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Because where are you based?
Right now, I'm in UK, in London. I'm in London.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Not
And that's
not
where you
very,
live as well?
not permanently. I'm mainly here because of personal reasons. I'm taking care of also my father, so it's been a bit challenging. So that's what
Yeah.
reasons. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I'm in the UK again, I will let you know.
Perfect. I hope soon I'll start traveling again, because I know I have commitments around the world, and I really need to do them also. So in the end, it's a matter of how I'm trying to organizing this outfit. Let's just say the way it's going. So, Bobby, I really thank you for having this conversation. The
Thank you
way
very
you
much.
encourage people, say my thanks from myself to all your team. Amazing work, and looking forward to see many of your works more in the future. So before we,
And then we'll have another discussion.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, as many as you want. I'm always open, because I really enjoying this conversation. I mean, talking with you, I can tell you we could be talking for 4, 5, 6 hours in a row, for sure, for sure. I'm really enjoying, this type of conversation, because I started a subject, you continue, so we're really getting done this compenetration. Let's just
We
say,
can talk about geopolitics all
yeah,
day,
yeah,
but I
absolutely,
have to go to a premiere.
truly, truly amazing, for sure, for sure. So before we go, I always ask my guests to say a power message. What would be your power message today?
Um, be kind to each other. I think that's the most important thing. Be kind to each other, and I hope the lovely, kind people are with more.
Yeah, I truly agree with you. I think, um,
And
unfortunately,
I know it sounds very cheesy, but be
no,
kind to each
no, no,
other
no.
is the most important thing.
I
We were
think,
having this whole discussion about geopolitics and violence and
yeah,
terrorist attacks, and I make very dark crime, gritty films and series. But I think in the end, being kind to each other and respecting each other without violence is the most important thing for the world.
no, but as in that fact too, you actually glimmered that image on the background. Things happen because of a reason, and you stated
Yeah,
there too. So it's a matter of trying to understand the whole situation.
yeah,
And like you said, I mean, it's unfortunate that people are unable to maintain diplomatic talks with each other, or be kind to each other, or trying to get along. In the
yeah.
end, you cannot be liked by everyone. That's a fact.
No,
But I mean, there's no point of getting into violence. I mean, it's in the end, it's also a matter of opinion. You can have your opinion. I can like red. You can like blue, for example. It doesn't matter. I don't care. So you
no,
like blue, wonderful. But this is the mindset that people don't usually have. They usually say that no, we have difference of opinion. So what? Just because of difference of opinion, you don't like the person anymore. It's like,
no.
what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So in the end, it's always good, because you always have also the other side. You have the different aspect that you learn also from the other person, about their likes, about the mindset. What is the other side of the story, and this is what people miss out. There's
Yeah,
always other side of the story. You just need
yeah,
to be more penetrative. The same way people listen to you, you need to be willing also to listen to other people. It's not
yeah,
also respect, but it's also trying to be honest, because you are talking to someone, you need to hear that person too. And this is what most people miss out. I think there has to be a switch, and people start thinking more also on other people instead of thinking about themselves. This is one
yeah,
thing that I see in majority of population, which I actually talk to a lot of people daily, and in majority I see this. It's all about me, my career, my this, my that. Yeah, man. But you live in a society, there's
yeah,
other people also have skills. They also have professional careers. They also have, same goals. So, I mean, there has to be somewhere in between. There has to be common sense. There has to be a middleware, some kind of middleware conversation where you get a good engagement in a positive way. Because otherwise, you get into smashes. I mean, if you think about on
Exactly.
yourself and the other person think about yourself too, there's no compenetration at all. There ain't going to be a conversation. And unfortunately, this is what happens in society. And this is what I see. I see people that think about what they're doing within a box. They don't look outside the box. They're just inside the box in their own life and their own thing. And then when they have these gaps, when they actually have a couple of hours, let's say a couple of hours a day that went out of the gap, they try to engage with other people. You see, that's not possible because you cannot attract a person and then push her away, and then you attract her again whenever it's convenient to you. This happens in society today, and then
Yeah.
people don't understand that this type of character or personality is fake, and you shouldn't do that because in the end you're gonna
No.
pay for it too because it's gonna come
Completely
back.
agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I need to run to a premiere. I need to go to a movie premiere. So I need to go,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Um,
So Bobby
it was very
was
nice talking
really
to you.
wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Having this conversation today. All the best for your premieres and all your movies. And just
Thank you.
heads up and keep me posted. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
today.
Will do. Thank you so much for the conversation.
So
Have a good
thank
one.
you all for watching. Catch you all in the next one. Thank you, Bobby. Talk to you soon. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.